That's a lot of meat. I need to go back to my therapist.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I realize I'm a couple days late on this story, but like I said, I've been traveling and everything else, and I've been keeping an eye on this. Woke Hollywood goes on strike and the world celebrates. It kind of is a celebration depending on who you're listening to. It's either a celebration or a collective yawn. Hollywood has put out so many flops and so many bad movies, and part of it is, number one, if you watch any award show, they literally attack half of the country that obviously voted for President Trump. And then if you have certain leanings, say, on baby deletion, they're against you. And if you're not okay with the LDHD TV and telling this to children, they're against you. And. Add on top of that the fact that if you go on social media, you can find Hollywood singers, artists, actors, producers, telling us plebeians, us nobodies, how we should live our lives and how we should spend our money and eat the bugs and stay home because we're all in this together. And over the course of all of this, I think people have just said, you know what, I'm really not that interested in Hollywood anymore. And then to kind of finalize and put a cap on it, for us men, right now there are no strong male leads except, you know, maybe you've got Brad Pitt, you know, in a recent movie. And you might have a couple of them out there. But right now, everything out there is spreading the message. And you can watch 110-pound girls soaking wet, throwing around 275-pound bodyguards like they're nothing. And that's understandable if it's a, you know, she's gotten special powers or it's a, but no, these are just everyday police officer in L.A. that's a female that's 115 pounds, throws a guy through a brick wall. And then they have to rant on how smart they are and how brilliant they are and how dumb men are. And after a while, pretty much Hollywood has just separated themselves from so much of society that no one really cares anymore. Well, this is from Fox News. Actor-writer strikes could lead to Hollywood's absolute collapse if not resolved soon, former Paramount CEO. I'm not going to play the full interview here, but I'll grab a little snippet here for us. Let me make sure my audio is on here.
So this actually will have devastating effects if it is not settled soon. The only other thing I would do, I would call for a September 1st deadline. Yeah. You know, there's a strike deadline. I think there should be a settlement deadline. Because unless it happens by September 1st, the actions, and you know, of course, who cares about Hollywood? Who cares about it? But the truth is, this is a huge business, both domestically and for world export. And if these conditions, I'm like, sound like crying to the skies, but these conditions will potentially produce an absolute collapse of an entire industry.
But here's the truth of it. The collapse is already happening. You know, I think collectively Disney's 8 last movies, all of them have lost money. They've lost close to $1 billion in total. And when you look at movies that, you know, used to cost, I think the original Indiana Jones cost $25 million to make, and it made, I don't know, a couple $100 million. And now you're looking at these new ones, and the newest Indiana Jones cost something like $300 million to make, not counting reshoots, not counting advertising. And if you count in the advertising and everything else, all of a sudden it's ballooned up to $500-600 million. And then when it goes into theaters, you know, AMC, the AMC and other movie cinemas of its type, they keep half the box office winnings. So when you're looking at a movie that, let's say it costs $300 million, I think that's close. I'm ballparking this. I haven't looked at official numbers exactly yet. But I think the new Indiana Jones was something like $300 million. We'll double that for advertising. But even if you don't, you say, oh, they only put $100 or $200 million into it. Okay, well, now you've got to make $800 million to $1 billion to break even. What did it pull in at the box office? I think $300 million. So if half of that goes to the box office, that's $150. Now you've got $150 that the cinema or the film studios made at a cost of $400, $500, $600 million, depending on movie and advertising. They're losing money hand over fist because they've alienated themselves so much from the rest of the country. And let's be frank, most of us don't care. You know, the last movie I watched was, I think that was, I didn't even watch it in the theater. I think I rented it somewhere. Was Top Gun, the new Top Gun. I don't even remember the whole name of it. The new Top Gun. This Mission Impossible, I'll probably go see at the movie. The new movie about, what is it, The Sound of Freedom or The Sound of Silence, the new one about the kids being kidnapped and all that stuff. I'll probably go see that one if it's still in theaters. I just don't go to the movies much anymore because I don't like being penned in a seat with a bad movie angle and over-blaring sound and people throwing popcorn and looking at their phones. I just don't like the movie experience. Well, this is from Breitbart, and I think this is probably the most accurate take that most people have on this situation. Oh, and before I forget, before we get too far in, I have a fun story about Margot Robbie and how everybody is arguing if she's mid or not. And it actually has something to do with men, I promise you. It's a kind of a fun tie-in. I'll do that at the end. They say, hooray for woke Hollywood shutting down. That's kind of how a lot of people feel about it. 2 strikes have shut down Hollywood, and that's a beautiful thing. Hollywood is shut down, and we're all supposed to pretend we care now that people who hate us and target our kids are out of work. Well, I'm too old to pretend. As the last unicorn, as the last right-winger who, up until a couple of years ago, defended the entertainment industry as a vital American institution and creator of art, I'm now pledging those delegates to my Blu-ray collection. The writers on strike, the actors are on strike. What are they striking over? Don't know, don't care. Who's right, the studio or the strikers? Don't know, don't care. Why should I care about people who hate me? I think that's very well said, and I think a lot of, especially us men, and I don't even think you have to be a conservative man. You just have to be a man that says, I don't like being made fun of all the time. I don't like the fact that you're going to tell me about politics and all the rest of the crap that I already mentioned. I don't want to hear it from you, people who get tens of hundreds of millions of dollars, who live in these lavish resorts up in the hills. I don't care what you think about me. I am a nobody to you, and that is fine. We all are. We're nobodies to you. The problem with that is they talk to us like we're nobodies. They treat us like nobodies on social media, and that's why I think the quote-unquote Hollywood actor or star, actor or actress, or Hollywood star, why they've gone the way of the dodo bird. There's nothing mysterious about them anymore. And granted, there's nothing mysterious about me or maybe many of the other YouTubers you want, but we're at least genuine with what we say, where, you know, they go through their managers and their publishers, and they all have these certain things that they have to say to fall in line to make sure that they're not kicked out of Hollywood and that they can still find work. None of them are genuine, and we know that. And I think that's the big thing, is everybody wants genuine content. Like me or hate me, I tell you what I think. I don't pull, I mean, I try to be polite about it, but I don't pull punches. I'm going to tell you what I think about things, and a lot of times you guys argue with me, and you push back in the comments, or those of you that follow me over on Twitter, @BachelorJoker. There's 10,000 people over there, and every once in a while I make a comment, and somebody says, I think you got this one wrong, man. That's fine. But the point is, most people that are doing what I do on the internet stick to their guns, or at least the ones you probably watch. They stick to their guns. Like it or hate it. I am who I am. I'm just telling you how I feel. But they're so disingenuous. They're so afraid to speak out if they disagree, and they just come out like they're NPCs. Speaking of NPC, that will be the last NPC intro that I do. It's just funny. No, second to last. I have one more I want to do. They're just funny. You have to make fun of everything that's going on today, because if you don't, you're going to go crazy. Is this a she? Oh, this is John Nolte. Okay, so John continues on. Why would I mourn the shutdown of a multi-billion-dollar industry dedicated to hating me, teaching children incorrect stuff, destroying my heroes, lying about my country, championing fascism and socialism, and taking pride in wasting everyone's precious time with a product that rarely rises to mediocre? All I know is that Hollywood is shut down, and when bad things happen to bad people, there's no reason to pretend otherwise. Hollywood is shut down, and that means our kids are a little safer. Hollywood is shut down. God bless America. What were your first thoughts when you heard about Hollywood shut down? Mine were, oh noes, who will make those 500 lousy TV shows no one watches? Who will, again, teach children bad things? Who will insult me for believing in God and free speech? Who will lecture me, scold me? Who will try to trick me into watching same gender intimate things and guild me into repaying reparations to crybabies? I didn't pretend to support the entertainment industry all those years past, but all that ended with the launching of this newest era. Sorry, it's YouTube. I can only say so much. Hollywood no longer believes in art or commerce. Hollywood's woke Reich believes in only having okay, I can't read a lot of those things. Inappropriate things now. They're pushing lots of inappropriate things. Yes, I realize there are exceptions to Hollywood, but those are exceptions. They're like the bad Germans in World War II, not enough to make me stop hating the whole bunch. And remember, all you and I are doing is hating Hollywood back. They started it. Oh boy, did they start it. And now the whole industry can burn for all I care. Now, I haven't read through all the way through this article. A lot of times I don't, because I try to give genuine reactions as I read. But again, my problem is there's so many people that just are to the point of, will you please leave me alone? Please stop dictating to me. Please stop telling me how to think and how to feel. As a man, stop telling me I'm toxic. As a white dude, stop telling me that somehow I have this internalized racist and all the other isms and phobes. I'm tired of it. Those things do not apply to me. They don't apply to most of you. Stop it. And this is the easiest way to say stop it, is like, you know what? I don't give them money anymore. If something comes out that I support and they don't promote the message, yeah, I might be considered to give them money. But the problem is a lot of these studios, on one hand, will come out with a movie that maybe you might say, oh, that's a good movie, you should give them money for that. But don't give them money for this other thing. The problem is the same studio gets the money. Now, maybe it's a way to show them that if they steer direction and stop telling us, stop feeding the message in videos, maybe that's a way we can, because if we don't pay money for anything, maybe they won't learn anything. So maybe you support the movie messages that you like and the ones you don't. Me personally, I've never liked the movies. So to get me to go in the first place was already like pulling teeth. Getting me to go now and give anyone in Hollywood, I could care less. And I think for me, the other big portion of it is seeing these people on social media, especially during the lockdowns and the jabs and everything, telling me what to do and that we're all in this together, as they closed down small mom and pop businesses, told had companies tell people that if you didn't get the poke, you can't go to work and you're out of a job. And in the meantime, they're like having DoorDash and food delivered to their house while their maid still comes over and cleans, and they're laying around their 3 Olympic-sized pools and their 14,000 square foot home telling us, just hang in there, we're all in this together. I think that's what finally did it for that and the Bravo Lima Mike stuff. For me, that I just tapped out after that. And I will say this: what the protests are mostly over is the Hollywood actor, the writers are complaining about pay. Some of the actors are complaining about pay. But here's my counterpoint: why would we pay you for doing crappy work? If you put out crap and you write crap characters and the movies are horrible and they all have kind of the same cookie cutter stamp message in them, why should you get paid? Look, if I went to a job site in construction and they asked me to pour some concrete, and level it and get the air bubbles out and float it and make sure it was smooth concrete, and you showed up in 3 days to see how it's set and it's turned into soup and ran off the job site and was unusable, and I just wasted $20,000 worth of concrete, you'd fire me. I wouldn't be able to say, well, you didn't pay me enough, so pay me more and I'll do a better job. That's not how it works in the real world. But that's how they think things are going to work in Hollywood, and they just don't. And so I think they've gotten every penny that they deserve, which is virtually next to nothing. They say timing of the shutdown could not be better. The movie industry was just starting to normalize after the bug. The shutdown could last months, hopefully longer, and cost these multinational syndicates, we'll call the studios, billions. Everybody walked off. Sets have been left standing. Movies and TV shows have been left partly completed. Completed movies and TV shows are requiring promotion will not have access to the actors needed to promote them. The foo-foo festivals that screen movies no normal people watch are likely shuttered for a year. It's like an explosion hit Hollywood, leaving behind half-eaten meals and still smoking cigarettes. Just paying the interest on the loans for the latest $300 million piece of woke crap will bleed out the studios. Good. The studios have pledged to refuse to negotiate until the strikers lose their homes. Good. When people who hate me go to war, my only moral obligation is to hope for a long and destructive war. And I hope I do. If y'all need me, I'll be over here enjoying my Blu-ray collection, keeping hope alive. I mean, this is a pretty strong take, but let's face it. Right now, Hollywood is a cesspit. And if you look at the, is it The Sound of Freedom, the new movie that just came out, and I've seen the title of it a zillion times because all the conservatives are pushing me to go out and watch it as some sort of a protest to Hollywood. And like I said, I don't go out to watch movies very often. But there's a lot of weird circumstances where left-wing magazines like the Rolling Stone and others are trying to, like, say not to watch it. They call it a QAnon adjacent something or other. And it's like, why don't you want people to watch a movie that tells a story about how a man protected kids from, bad people that were doing very, very bad things to them? At this point, I just feel like there's nothing left in Hollywood for me. So, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it, watching it burn. I'll leave it with this. This is the last little tidbit I wanted to talk about. And there was the internet is so weird, man. And I have to, for me, a lot of days I feel like I'm crawling through a dumpster behind a fast food joint, and it's filled with grease and dirty fries from the floor when I look around the internet for stories. But there were two things that were trending at the same time on Twitter the other day. And it was Margot Robbie is mid and Henry Cavill is mid. Now here you have two good-looking, actor and actresses, and both were going around and people were saying they're mid and they weren't that great. But of course they only write the story about Margot Robbie because that's a woman, and who cares what people think about Henry Cavill? And the truth is, no one does care. Why? Men don't even care. Why? Because we're not that sensitive to this stuff. It's usually the women that get all upset when they get name called or shamed or whatever, and they feel like, oh, we need to gang up and try to fight back. Where men are just like, whatever. I got a mortgage to pay. I got crap to do. But they've started arguing about Margot Robbie, her hotness, and they say it's dangerous to talk about that. Why? Because women's body positivity and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to read the thing. But they say Hollywood bombshell, Margot Robbie's now apparently mid, according to Twitter trolls. For those not versed in the internet speak, Urban Dictionary defines mid as someone on a scale of 1 to 10 is like 4, 5, 6, or 7. It's not 7. It's 4, 5, or 6. Those are the middle numbers. 1, 2, 3 is lower. 7, 8, 9 is 10. 4, 5, 6 is the middle numbers, thus mid, not 7. And it's just like every other girl. This is her without makeup. One Twitter user quipped of Robbie posting a photo, definitely mid. The tweet has been viewed more than 62 million times. Now it's been viewed but not necessarily agreed with. But here's the photo they showed of her. Okay, now I don't know about you, but I've seen plenty of photos on either Instagram or dating profiles of somebody that looks like this. Now, here's the weird thing. She doesn't look smashingly hot in this photo, and this is her without makeup. Her eyebrows aren't done, so they're a little crazy. And I don't know how old Margot Robbie is, but she's starting to show the lines around the bottoms of the eyes and little crow's feet and some necklines on here. It's starting to show. And then somebody else says, this is Mommy Milkers, says, if this is mid, you lost the plot. And what do? They show her from a movie that's like several years ago with a ton of makeup on. So, I mean, but here's the point. The fact that guys are even joking and talking about this is driving women bananas. And I think that's because they look at this and they're like, oh, if that's mid, I really don't have much to offer anymore. And I don't know how old she is. But somebody says she's a hard 7. You used to find a Margot Robbie in every Blockbuster video in '95. I will say this. Without the makeup, I've met many a girl that looked like this in real life, and some of them have dated friends or whatever. The digs at Roby's looks come as the Australian sex symbol set to star in the Barbie movie, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they say how old she is. But they say Robbie is perhaps the closest human equivalent to a wildly disproportionate, literally plastic caricature of what a woman should be. Anyone claiming otherwise is out of their mind or trolling for clicks. But here's the thing, again, you know, when you look at, and I don't find her unattractive, like I'm not saying that. But my whole point is you're seeing them here with professional makeup like they put on in the movies. And yes, she looks very good in these. But, you know, they run the tape underneath and tape certain things up, and gravity doesn't show. And there's a lot of, now this, Wolf of Wall Street, she was very spicy in that movie. But they're worried now that girls' self-esteem will be absolutely destroyed because of what men say on Twitter. Okay, yeah, I know a lot of 12-year-old girls that follow dudes like Nick on Twitter. And so what do? They pander. They're just pandering. They're trying to find, and then they go into all the reasons that women are having a hard time. Again, I don't see too much on here about Henry Cavill. I don't know how old Margot Robbie is, or Roby, however she pronounces it. But I'll tell you this: I was going to pull up a photo of her to use for my thumbnail for this video, and I noticed something. When I pull up all the photos of her today versus what she looked like 10 or 12 years ago. Like I said, I don't know how old she is. But if you look at the photos of her, you know, at 24 versus whatever she is today, she's a lot hotter at 24. Maybe that's what's driving these women crazy, is they realize that, you know, even if you're a gorgeous, like Sofia Vergara, I think it is like 51 now, she's a smoking hot 51-year-old. But if you look at her when she was 23, she was twice as smoking hot. And I think that's maybe what bothers women so much. But again, you know something? Who cares? If any of these people in Hollywood met us, talked to us, they wouldn't like our views, they would call us names, they would spit on us, even though it's our money that literally pays for the studios and the tickets and their paychecks. And that would be like me coming on here and maybe telling all my supporters that are over at Locals, right? People pay me $5 a month to become a member, and they get access to the forums and all that stuff. I talk about it all the time. That'd be like me going over there and saying, all of you are stupid, and I don't like the way you think, and your views are wrong, and spitting on them. And then when they all leave and I don't make any money anymore, and I'm like, what's going on? Come watch my show. Come pay me to pay attention to me. People be like, are you out of your damn mind? Well, that's how people feel about Hollywood now. They think they can tell us all how to feel and how to think, and that we need to give away, stop flying on airplanes and give up our air conditioning and our gas grills and save the planet while they jump on private airplanes or helicopters. They jump on a private helicopter to fly to the airport to get on their private jet to fly somewhere where their private yacht is sitting and then tool around on their private yacht. But they're going to tell you how you need to live because you might drive an SUV 14 miles to work once a day. So, I don't know. I thought this was kind of an interesting conversation. Thought I'd drop this out to you. I'll have another one coming up here. I think I'm going to talk about this one. There's Biden has called U.S. military reserve units to deploy for Ukraine. And why did he call them the reserve units? There's not enough. We don't have enough active duty. There's not enough active duty military to fill the ranks. We're 40%. Depending on which department, between 25 and 40% down on recruitment. Why? Get woke, go broke. It's the same for all of them. All right, guys. I will leave it there. Again, follow me over on bachelor.locals.com, or I'm on Twitter at BachelorJoker. I got about 10,000 or so people that follow me over there. I post a lot of stuff that is, I post memes, I post relevant topics, I make fun of things. I find women saying stupid things and post that up there. So I hope you go over, check that out, and see you in the next one.